Okay, let's talk about cleaning out our joint lines. When you come back, you really want to keep this clean as you install. But when you knock out your spacers, it's a little part of the spacer is going to stay behind here in some spots, and you're going to have to come back and cut that out. Along with some thin set. If you get a little thin set left behind, it's going to happen. It happens to the best of us. Just try to keep that kind of stuff to a minimal. Now what you want to do is make sure you got a sharp utility blade. Brand new. Once your blade starts to get dull, don't try to force it. Don't try to keep using it. Just put a new blade in here. Now when you're cutting this, we do not want to chip the tile. So I'm not pushing, I'm not going really hard with it. I got a sharp blade and I'm at this slight 45-degree angle where my mud's at. I'm going to take this at this 45 angle on both sides. And then I'm going to come straight up and down the tile a bit. And I'm not worried about taking it all the way back to the wall. We just want to dig that out a little bit and give us some good room for our grout to hold. Once you got that cleaned out, we're going to come back and wipe the wall down and vacuum all these out now. Okay, now that we got our grout lines cleaned out and everything's vacuumed out now, we're gonna come give everything a wipe down with just some regular water. No dish soap, no nothing, just some nice, cool, regular water. We're just gonna, any maybe pencil marks left behind, we're gonna focus on each tile. Any thin set, just anything left behind. We wanna give this a nice clean. You want your tile to be as clean as possible before grouting. You always want to start from the top and work your way down. Make sure you got clean water and a new sponge for this. As I'm wiping this down, I'm looking at the middle of the tile, of course, but I'm also focusing on my grout lines, making sure there's still no debris sneaking out where it shouldn't be. Okay, we got both walls wiped down. Now we're gonna wipe the floor down. And after this, we'll be ready to mix up some grout. I started behind the door. Now I'm gonna work this perimeter and then work my way out of the room. Okay, once our tile's clean, we're gonna let that dry for a couple minutes and we're gonna go mix the grout up. All right, we got the epoxy grout going in. This is the CEG light. This is what we're gonna be using by custom. This is what we're gonna be using on today's project. This is part A. This is part B. You don't need to pour this into another bucket. Part A mixes right into part B. You do want to make sure you keep this stuff off of your hands. Be very, very careful. Work mindfully to try to keep this epoxy off of your skin. Okay, here's what she looks like. Now have a paint stick or something to scoop out the part A. You want to make sure you get, if not all, close to all of these contents in here. Now this is very liquidy, so be careful when you open up this part A. If you open that up too fast, it will splash out on you. Just pour in there. Use your scooper, paint stick, or whatever you find on the job. Get that scooped out. Again, really try to keep this stuff off of you. Okay, we got about most of that out there. Make sure your paddle's clean. I've used this a couple times already for mixing this stuff up, but this is still a clean, fresh paddle. You want to mix this up at a low temp. Don't just pull full speed on your drill here. Give this about a halfway pull. Just let it work itself out. Come get the stuff off the side of the buckets here. I'm going to speed up my drill a little bit, but I'm still not going full speed here. Now it's important I move my paddle around. I don't just stay right in the middle. Push your paddle down to the bottom, dig out with the bottom of the bucket. Make sure you get a good mix on this. You're going to mix this up for at least a minute. Once that looks like a good consistency, you will get your water bucket. Clean off your paddle. Let's get ready to grout. That's the consistency you're looking for. Okay, our tile is clean. Our grout lines are cleaned out, vacuumed out. We wiped down the tile. We mixed up our grout. Now we are ready to grout the bathroom. Now with epoxy grout, it's a bit frightening. I know you've probably heard the horror stories. Haze gets left on a tile, it doesn't come off. It really doesn't come off. There's a couple tips and tricks to this, man. You stick to this guideline here, you'll have no problem. You think you got to tape off these, spend time taping everything off and just stay in the tape. Don't worry about none of that. We're going to grout this just like it's normal grout. We have the cleaners we need. We have everything we need to just grout this like it's normal grout. Now the one thing different I will do is I'll take my material out of my bucket. Reason being, this epoxy grout is going to set up faster if it's just in the bucket by itself. If I take out me a couple piles where I'm going to be working, this will make your material last longer. All right, we got our material dug out. Now we're going to start from the top and we're going to work our way down. So your first initial pass, you're trying to just pack it in the joint lines. Don't worry about it being super clean at this point. We're just packing our material in. And try to use the long side of your trowel as much as you can. It's easy to get caught just using the front. Use the long side, pack it in, come back and give it a wipe. Now when you're coming back for that final wipe, you want your grout float at a 90 degrees. We're not packing it in at the 22 no more. We got our float at a 90 degree. We're pushing in hard, and we're pushing in at an angle on these grout lines. Not afraid of my epoxy grout drying on me. I got what we need to make sure we get a clean, fresh clean on this and get all this epoxy grout off of this top. And really make sure you're packing your joint lines in good before you come back and give it the final swipe. As everything else, we're just going to work the top and work our way down. Now this stuff is thicker than regular grout. You will feel the difference. It's much harder to push around and pack in there. It's not very worker friendly. We're gonna get it taken care of. No problem. Nothing to it but to do it. Okay, we got one wall done. Let's get this other one. Now as I'm doing this, I'm looking at each grout line, making sure everything's packed in tight and looks good. I'm not worried about it being 100% perfect at this stage. When we come back and wipe this out, we're gonna smooth the grout line a bit when we come do our clean. But we still don't want any areas missing. If you got a Schluter metal on top of your tile, make sure you really focus on that grout line as well from your tile to Schluter. We want to pack everything in. Okay, now we got both walls done. Let's whip out the floor. Okay, so when you're packing this in your joint line, really push that in there. Get you a big pile. Don't worry about how much you got. Get a little extra. And once you got this pushed in, we're going to come back at a 90 degree with your float, putting good pressure on the floor. You can really see how I'm getting a lot of that residue up. The cleaner you keep this now, the easier it'll be to clean up later. Now at the same side of that coin, you only have limited work time with this epoxy grout. So you don't want to spend too much trying to make this perfect everywhere. It's going to clean off. Don't worry. But the cleaner you get it now, the easier it will be later. If you got too much, that's no worries. Just scoop her up, put it back in the bucket. This stuff is gonna harden in probably 30 minutes, and it's gonna be no good. I can already feel it starting to firm up on me a bit now. If your grout float won't reach, put some on your fingertip. Jam it in there. Okay, like I said, don't worry about these grout lines looking 100% perfect right now. Just make sure they're filled in, packed in tight. When we come clean this, we're gonna form these grout lines a bit. We're gonna let this sit for 5 to 10 minutes, and then we are gonna start here with cleaning and work our way into the room. We'll clean the floor first, and then we'll clean the walls. This way we stay off of the epoxy. So in the meantime, while my floor is drying, I'm giving it my dry time before I come clean it. We're gonna go clean off our grout float. Always have water buckets to wipe down your tools after you get done using them. Or you're gonna spend a lot of time cleaning tools or a lot of money buying tools. I also recommend when you're doing epoxy grout to have a new float. This is my 4th bathroom at this job, but at the beginning of the job I bought a brand new float. I didn't use one of my old ones. When I'm doing epoxy, I definitely want to start with a brand new float. If not brand new, make sure it's fairly new. Okay. Our tool is clean. We'll let this set up for a couple more minutes. Make sure you got new sponges. And you're gonna make sure you want to get a score pad. I like to get the Scrub Daddies. Or the Scrub Mommies, it doesn't matter really. The Scrub Daddy has the score pad on both sides. This is like half sponge, half score pad. If anything, I'll use this on my first pass. I'll use this on my second pass. We'll come back with a third pass with our sponge. And then after we get it cleaned with a sponge, we're gonna let it sit up for 10 minutes or so. And we're gonna come back and we're gonna clean it with our microfiber rag. And our muriatic acid. Now there's multiple ways people like to come try to take the epoxy haze off the tile. This is the way that I've found to be the best out of everything. If you have a different way, throw it in the comments. Let me know what you guys like to do. But I like to mix this up. 1 part muriatic acid to 9 parts water. Put that in a spray bottle. And don't use it yet. We're just using water with a little bit of Dawn soap in the water. Just a couple drops. Don't put a bunch of Dawn in your water. A couple drops of Dawn. That's our first pass. Our second pass, we'll use the muriatic acid with the water mix. And that's going to get rid of that haze. These are a bit more expensive. If you want to get those green score pads, those are a bit cheaper, I know. First pass, second pass, third pass, fourth and final pass. All right, let's glove up again. Okay, so on my first pass, I'm just gonna focus on the middle of the tile here. I'm gonna try to stay away from the grout lines a bit. We're doing a circle motion here, and I'm only working as far as my body will let me. I'm not about to crawl onto this. I'm working one section at a time. I'll come through with my second pass, and now I'll go over the joint lines. I'm going to do that circle motion still, but it's going to be very lightly. I'm not putting a lot of pressure on these joint lines. Again, I'm just focused on the big haze right now. You can go up and down. Now I see I got most of this off here, but I can see this is a bit thicker here. I'm going to go to my sponge side. You can apply a bit more pressure with your sponge. If I apply this pressure with the score side, I'm liable to dig all this grout out. When cleaning this, you want to be really gentle when going over the grout lines. But you do want to apply a bit of pressure with the sponge sides, and that's going to smooth everything out. After I get that bulk off of there, now I'll go over every grout line. Okay, we got the bulk off. We smoothed out our grout lines. Now we're going to come back with the sponge. We're going to hit this at an angle, and we're going to just use one side. One swipe, and then get yourself a new sponge. Now if you want to use this again on a really dirty part to kind of give it a little help, go ahead. Just make sure you go over that area with a new sponge. Some of these corners you can't clean out with your finger. Grab a tool, get something. Dig that out of there. Anything that dries that's not cleaned out, you're gonna have a hard time getting off. Okay, we got our first section cleaned. I'm gonna be cautious when I'm crawling on the floor of my grout lines. If I get on them a bit, it's not the end of the world. I just want to be cautious to not be digging grout out of them. So I'll come place myself as far as I can, and we'll go with the first pass with our score pad. Focusing on the middle. It's okay if you run over that grout line. Just be gentle with it. First pass done, come back with our second pass, smooth everything out. We'll come back with our sponge at a 45 degree. And you can also smooth out your grout lines with your sponge as you go for a final wipe. Now, I wasn't concerned with putting grout in this corner here because any corners are going to get a small bead of silicone to prevent cracking from later on. Now, granted, this is epoxy grout and it should never crack out, but this customer still requested the silicone in the corners. Okay, we got the floor done. Now let's focus on the wall. Same method. Scrub daddy or any kind of score pad first, followed by a second wipe with a score pad, followed by your third wipe with a sponge. All we're doing on this first pass is trying to break up all this thick stuff. Once I feel my pads start to get real thick with all this gunk, I'll rinse it out, soak it up, hit it again. Same thing with this as well. We're going to start from the top, work our way down. We're still going to work in sections here. So now that I got this section here, I'm going to come back with my second pass now. Looking for any more big spots that got left behind, while at the same time giving my grout lines the first rub down. And we'll come through with a sponge. Now they still have to paint this wall up here. If that was completely finished, I probably would have taped that off. And so I stayed off of their paint. But they still have to put mud and finish painting, so I wasn't too worried about it. But what I am gonna do is make sure that my grout is wiped off the wall thoroughly. I can feel this sponge getting pretty worn out, so I'm just gonna toss it and get a new one. Focused on my grout lines at this point. Now I'll come through and give that a final wipe. We'll hit it at that angle. We'll try to keep one clean side at a time. One side, one swipe on each side for your final pass on this. Applying good pressure on that. Okay, there we go. One section done. Let's keep trucking. I'm going to work my way to the left so I can stay working from top to bottom. Once I do my final wipe, I'm always double checking my grout lines. Making sure everything's packed in, there's no air bubbles, everything's smooth and flat, nothing's poking out too much, there's nothing still on the tile. Now when I'm going over these grout lines again, I'm applying a little bit of pressure on this. I'm putting my finger on the sponge and I'm just lightly putting a little light pressure on that. And that gets it right where you want it. Okay, onto the last wall. Same method, nothing's changed. Again, I packed some grout in here, but this corner is going to get silicone. So I didn't worry about bringing the grout out. I just packed it in a little bit to save me some material from my silicone. So when I put my silicone in, it'll go in a bit smoother for me. I see a little heavy grout line on some of these corners. I'm really pushing in on that, smoothing those out, while at the same time careful not to dig the grout out of our grout line. Okay, we got the floor, both walls wiped down. We're gonna let this sit for 5 to 10 minutes. And then we're gonna come back with our 1 part muriatic acid, 9 parts water, and we're gonna give this a final wipe down, and that's gonna get rid of any little haze that got left behind on these tiles. After you finish, always give it one more look over, you know, see if there's anything that got missed, left behind. Maybe there's a spot you want to touch up just a little bit more, you know. Just take that extra couple minutes to look over your work and make sure it's where you want it to be. Okay, we got our initial clean done. We've let this sit up about 10 minutes now. We're gonna come back with our final wipe. We got our clean microfiber rags. We got our spray bottle, muriatic acid and water. Now this is 1 part muriatic acid and 9 parts water. If your spray bottle is like this, 25 fluid ounces full. So we're gonna do 2.5 fluid ounces of the muriatic acid, and we'll fill the rest up to 25 with water. And again, this is a product you do not want on your skin, so please use full caution. Have gloves on. Get this on your skin or your eyes. You will regret it. Okay, 2.5. I advise you even have a mask on for this, really. Just take full caution. Rest water. This is our magic spray that is going to get rid of any haze left behind on this tile. Then we can come through tomorrow, or the cleaners can come through whenever and just wipe it down with regular dish soap or Dawn, or any type of cleaner you want to use will be okay. And that's a nice thing about epoxy grout. It's not going to change color over time. It's not going to crack out. If done properly, this is a long-lasting product that will definitely look good as time goes by. Okay, I'm going to start on the walls. I'm going to do both walls, and then I'm going to start in the corner of the room, do the perimeter of the floor, and then work my way out with the middle. And we will be done. Also, when spraying your formula here, don't be right up close to the wall. Give yourself some distance, stretch your arm out. But if you can see this little bit of haze left behind here, see that haze left behind? So if we were to just leave that and call this done, when we come in tomorrow, you're not getting that off. Good luck getting that haze off. Just a light spray over the tile, and you're just gonna clean it like you normally would anything else. Again, I recommend a mask along with the gloves for this. I'm just focused on one tile at a time. And I'm not really spraying the grout line directly. I'm spraying the middle of the tile. It's okay to go over the grout line lightly, but I don't want to drill this spray into my grout line. Spray on the tile, rub that out, move on to the next one. It really does not take much. And as I'm doing this, if I see any pinholes in my grout, I can rub those out. Okay, one side done. Let's get this other wall now. Starting from the top. And up close, you can see that haze go away. Once I spray this on here and give this tile a full wipe down, I can see the gloss from this cleaning my tile. And that's getting rid of everything perfectly. Just one tile at a time. You really don't want to miss a spot on this. You can come back the next day with this formula and try to get it, but you're going to be putting a lot of elbow grease into it. I'm just giving this a light wipe down. Okay, both walls are done. I'm going to switch out to a new towel. We're going to work our perimeter first. We're going to do the outside of this entire room, starting behind the door. Now as you're cleaning, if you see a little spot that's dug out or you think needs a little more grout, just go get some and add it in there. Grab your sponge. Give her a wipe, nice and gentle. Okay, we got our perimeter done. I'm gonna scoop myself back. I'm gonna start in the middle, work my way out, and we will be complete. Okay, there you go, man. You are now an epoxy grout professional. We're gonna come back, we're gonna let this dry. We'll come back in a couple hours or so and we will silicone the inside corner and the bottom cracks. And then she'll be finished. I appreciate you guys tuning in for this video, checking out how epoxy grout goes in if you're a DIY. I hope this helped you a lot. If you got any questions, just leave them in the comments. I'll do my best to get back to you. And yeah, man, until next time, y'all be safe. Peace.